So I finally got to see Mortal Engines after a couple days. I usually see things the day they come out, but hey, things got in the way and life happens. So as a huge Peter Jackson fanboy who loves pretty much every one of his films, yes, The Hobbit included. If that makes my opinion to you shit, oh well. But I adore those movies, all three of them, and the extended editions. So there you go. But when I saw that he was making this, I was absolutely intrigued, of course, being, the Peter Jackson lover I am. And when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh shit, like this is going to be a big blockbuster thing. How cool. And I just had this feeling it was going to bomb, though. I know that Peter Jackson's name really isn't all that credible anymore. It's always that what have you done for me lately thing. And since so many people hated The Hobbit, they now seem to think he's garbage, which is absolutely ridiculous to me. But hey, what can you do? Plus, I think they think he directed this, which he did not. Christian Rivers did, and this is his first, big blockbuster movie. It's actually like his first real movie. He has something else on IMDb, but let's say that this is his directorial debut on this scale for sure. This film needs an hour added to it. I know a lot of films, people will be like, this needs to be 10 minutes shorter, 20 minutes shorter. This movie needs at least an hour added to it. And I do believe that footage exists. Knowing Peter Jackson like I do, and having watched the extended editions of Lord of the Rings, the King Kong, freaking Hobbits, all of those movies, a much longer extended edition of this exists, and I hope that one day it is released, because pretty much every issue I have with this film could be rectified by an extended edition. Give me a 45-minute to an hour longer version of this movie and flesh things out, slow things down a little bit so that I can get to know all these new things. I've never read the books. I don't know anything about this world. The majority of people who went into this probably know nothing about it like me. And we need character development. We need to know all of these rich new places. This is a post-apocalyptic world of these huge cities that roam around on these, tank-like tire tracks. London is now a huge moving city, and it gobbles up other moving little cities for power. And you've got great talent in here. The acting is all good. The visuals are amazing. And there's so much to like, but there's not enough to earn it. You're just sitting there like, oh, I want to know more about this person. I want to know more about this event. I want to know more about that town. I want to know more about how this happened. I want to know, and it's just missing chunks. I feel like it would jump from one scene to the next and be like, I swear there's 10 minutes missing here. Because there should be something in between those scenes that tells us what happened, and it just doesn't. It feels disjointed to me. And as I said, there's many differences, but one big difference between this and The Lord of the Rings, I'm going to use as a prime example, is that when Fellowship or Towers or Return of the King came out, in their theatrical version, they were amazing. In their extended version, they were even more amazing. And the stuff that they had taken out, once you had seen it, you couldn't believe it was missing, but you didn't notice it on the first view, or the first 5 views for me before I finally saw the extended edition or more. But when I went to watch it, I never felt during Fellowship, any of that stuff, where I was like, okay, where's this? Now, granted, I did read the books for Lord of the Rings, and I have not read the books for this, but it didn't feel like it was rushing. It didn't feel like character development. Granted, as well, those films are 3 hours long. This film is only 2 hours long. This film needed to be 3 hours long, at least. And I honestly think that they've gotten into this trend where people won't sit through a 3 hour film anymore. And it's kind of ironic coming from a Peter Jackson produced film, the guy who went around to studios for years and years because he didn't want to make The Lord of the Rings in one film or even two. He knew it was going to be 3 films and that each one of them was going to have to be 3 freaking hours long. And here we are, X amount of years later, and you know, he turned one Hobbit book, 300 pages, into 3 films. And then he makes this book, which I'm assuming is pretty large. The scale of this story is enormous. It does kind of have a little bit of a YA feel to it. A little. It's more adult themed in a lot of areas, and there's some, you know, graphic fights and whatnot. Not R-rated, obviously. It's PG-13, but there's some of it that feels teen, you know, YA novel, and some of it not. I don't know what target audience the novels are, but yeah, man, I just it's weird to me that Peter Jackson would make this film so short and so neutered. There's so much missing, and I pray that, you know, even if this bombs, that Peter Jackson will release the extended cut that I believe exists. I have no proof of this, but having watched the movie, knowing his career, I believe it exists. And I believe that there is a great film out there from that footage, and I want to see it one day. Because I really liked everything I saw, but I wanted to love it. And it just wouldn't let me because it wasn't giving me everything that was there. That's my speculation on it. And I can only speak for the film as it is right now, and as it is right now, it's good, but it's not great. And I think, you know, and I completely will understand and do understand where a lot of people are coming, and they're like, you know, these characters are hollow, and the story is just too disjointed and all. I agree. But that's because this film was hacked. I know I'm not talking with any sources, but I just, watching it, I just know it to be true. So I am disappointed because I may never see another version of this film. And sticking with the one that I did get, I'm disappointed. And it's a shame because what a rich story to draw from. What a fascinating, you know, tale this is. I mean, just, it's so visually stunning, and yes, it definitely, you know, is derivative. It borrows heavily from so many other things, you know, Star Wars and that anime movie. I'm not an anime fan, so I apologize. People rip me apart. Howling's Moving Castle, Howl's Moving Castle, Howling's Moving Castle, well, Howl's, yeah, something like that. I saw some of it, but it very much felt like this, and other films as well. And it could be its own thing. It could stand on its own with other footage. All right, I'm oversaying all of that. This was a letdown, and I'm not sure why this happened like this, because with Peter Jackson involved, I would expect him to give us a much longer, much more fleshed out version, especially with him writing this thing. So keep my fingers crossed that I'll see this full film one day. But until then, I was unfortunately underwhelmed as a Peter Jackson fanboy. So, you know, I'm being honest. All right, guys.